Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Shout out to anybody tuned in, whether it's one person or 1,000 people. You're watching the MV Online podcast. You're rocking with your host, one half of this platform, Son of a Jones. And to my right,
#1 Falcons fan / partner, Azar Johnson.
we'll get back to them Falcons. But we got a more important discussion involving music. To my left, I'm honored to have a dope host representing Brooklyn.
That's a fact.
Raised
and the
in-
518.
Raised in Albany. So I want to give leeway and shout out to DJ Wiz Hoffa. Hoffa, what's going on, man?
It's a blessing to be here with y'all, man. I'm a fan of the show.
We definitely a fan of yours, mainly because being a DJ is an important element of hip hop that I think people overlook when we have these discussions. So when we curating hip hop, talking albums, songs, or things we interest, what better way to do that than get a DJ involved?
That's a fact.
So I don't want to tell your story. I want to give you the opportunity to tell your story yourself. Got some questions. We're going to talk some music, some politics, and so forth. I'm going to jump forward and then come back. How did you get your name, DJ Wiz Hoffa?
One of my friends, Rich Famous, this my long time partner in rhyme, I guess you could say. And somewhere's around 2000, he was always creative, making up names, making up slogans, coming up with names for brands. And one day he hit me with it, and I liked it, so I kept it, because my former name was Soundwave. That's what a lot of people from the 518 knew me from back when.
Should have trademarked that, man. That sound creative.
I got tired of it. I felt like it was outdated at some point, so I just tossed that. But yeah.
Dope.
And I must say, I was before math too, just to make that note.
So I talk to him sometimes. Sometimes we talk about like our favorite artists from certain eras. And one of mine is, not DJ, I'm sorry, Slick Rick and LL Cool J, because it's my first memory of hip hop. Like I remember my dad driving me to the barbershop on Swan Street, I think North Swan Street, that they had back in the early 90s.
Was Sanitary?
Hmm?
Was it Sanitary?
What you
Max, the barbershop. I'm trying to think of what barbershop you was going to.
It's not there no more. I just remember back in the early 90s, but late 80s, early 90s. So I was a little 3, 4, 89, and he got his seat back, bumping LL and Slick Rick. So that's just my first memory of hip hop, period. For you growing up at the time period you grew up at, you got to see it from its inception.
Facts.
Being from Brooklyn, you got to see it from the start. So take me through your evolution of growing up, seeing the culture start from its inception, and what was the music like being played in your house?
Well, my parents, they kept a record collection, right? My parents are always in and out of the record store, so I'ma say hip hop for me probably started realistically with the Sugar Hill Gang, because that was the commercial record that mostly everybody was buying, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's early in the game, and as we know, Sugar Hill Gang, it was rap, but it still had the R&B break to it, because from where they got it from. So it was a very popular commercial record, and I think that was the first hip hop that I heard inside my household. But musically, I mean, everything from Gladys Knight and the Pips, Marvin Gaye, anything Motown. We could go down the line. The Jacksons. It's just some Isaac Hayes, Barry White. My father was real heavy into Barry and Isaac Hayes, so I know a lot of their albums. So yeah, I grew up on the cornucopia of, soul, funk, R&B music, a little bit of jazz here and there. And my parents basically knew by the time I was 4 years old that this is what he likes, because it would calm me. That's how you settle me down, play some music. So
You got some questions?
Not yet.
All right. So you talked about being played at that time that was vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Did you originally want to be a DJ? And I ask because some people say they might want to start off MCing. Did you ever try your hand? Because I'll be honest with y'all, I tried to write one rhyme at 13. I said, I'm certified trash. Never try to be an MC again. Find some other avenue. Was it always DJing for you, or was it something else?
No, definitely not. For the first half of my career, most people know me as an MC, actually. But I'm gonna say that DJing naturally probably was the first thing, because once I got to around 8, 9 years old, parents having card parties, they playing cards, they playing spades.
Some house parties.
And, you know, and they got the music going, so I'll be the one to go over there and change the records. So even though it wasn't physically 2 turntables in a mixer, right? The person that's in control of the music is the DJ. So that's really where it started. And then when I turned 15, they finally got me my set of turntables. But I had been rhyming since 9 years old. So I'm gonna say everything coincided together. Production was probably the last thing that I took upon.
So we had a chance to talk to a lot of DJs. DJ Cool Red Alert, DJ Thorough. I interviewed Diamond D.
Man,
that's dope, man. That's dope.
One question I like to ask him is, like, I think I asked Thorough this, and he gave me a good answer. So what was the mixtape that did it for you? And he talked about, I think it was Dr. Dre's first mixtape. I forget the exact name for it, but the question that I asked him was, what was the mixtape that did it for you? So I want to frame that towards you. What was the mixtape that did it for you that was like, man, this is what I want to do?
Well, before I go to, I guess, somebody more mainstream, I gotta give all due respect and props to the DJs in my area that actually did mixtapes too, because they were local and they were some of our first mixtape influence as well. DJ Young Wise, DJ Royal Crush, who's a mentor to me. He's the reason why I make beats to this day. DJ Swift, DJ Cutmaster Supreme, DJ Do. So we had local DJs that was doing mixtapes too. Young Wise actually got to a national level because I don't know if you guys remember Ron C, but Ron C was a black man that owned two stores. He owned the Rim Shop that sold mixtapes, and then he had another store that had mixtapes and clothes. And then he had a van called the Flavor Van. And the Flavor Van, you could literally beep my man Carlos, who you usually be driving the Flavor Van, and they'll bring mixtapes to you. They'll bring the van to you so you could get your mixtapes and shirts or whatever it is they had in the van right there. So I would say, though, as far as the bigger mixtape DJs, naming a specific mixtape, that would probably take some thought. But I'm definitely going to say the Ron G Mix 1, 2, and 3, early DJ Juice mixtapes, early DJ Doo-Wop mixtapes, the E Brothers. I had a white kid that lived on my block, and he used to have every mixtape known to man. So he even put me on DJs that I wasn't listening to, like DJ Buck Wild and, you know, like some of the ones that aren't mentioned as much. As you know, Buck Wild is like a big legendary producer at this point, but he started with mixtapes too. So yeah, man, the Juices, the Ron G's, the Doo-Wops, the Kid Capris, guys like that in the early stages.
Okay. What was your you want to say as when you started DJing? Were you starting to just make mixtapes first, or were you going out and actually DJing like local parties? What did you do first?
Every DJ had a mixtape. Every DJ had mixtapes, even if nobody heard them. Because that was our way to practice. You pop the tape in for 45 minutes, and then you do your thing, and then you play it back and critique yourself and figure out how to make yourself better. As far as my first mixtapes, I would say, because I always had a bunch of people that did music around me. So my best friend, DJ Biz, and my other best friend, DJ Money Mike, we used to do mixtapes together. And then they kind of hit the mainstream of the DJ scene before I did. So I used to just feature on a lot of their stuff because remember, I'm still mainly an MC at that point. So I'm really double dipping. I'm rhyming on the tapes, and then I might have a little couple of blends at the end. They might let me throw a couple blends on the end of the CD. But I was mainly rhyming at that point. So until
you was pulling the DJ doo-wop.
Yeah, until my late 20s. My late 20s is probably when I started taking DJing serious. Before that point, only the people that came to my house knew I could DJ for real.
So here's a unique question, because you had a chance to. When did you migrate? First, let me ask you, when did you migrate from Brooklyn to upstate New York?
I was only 4 years old, man.
Okay, so you lived up here.
My parents came up here alone because I was the first child. I'm the oldest. My brothers and sisters weren't born till years after me. So essentially working for the state. My father, he took a state test when he was in Brooklyn, and he passed. He came up here. He got appointed to a position. Next thing you know, we up here. But all my family on both sides was still back down there. So I spent all the summers and holidays and all of that stuff. I would be in the city. My friends wouldn't even barely see me in the summer. I wouldn't come back till like a week before school started. So because of that, I was able to still remain very cultured and know everything that was going on, and be in the parks and see the break dancers and the graffiti and everything that was happening in the culture.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to hit on. Because everybody knows it's a little different from being in the 5 boroughs versus being upstate.
Absolutely.
Especially at that time period, because we talking, not to put your age out there, but 80s, early 90s, if I can say that. So what was it like when you're starting to DJ? Did you feel like you had an advantage DJing up here and then going and spending the summers or whatever times you were spending in the 5 boroughs, maybe to pick up certain sounds or maybe certain music that you was hearing to bring it back up?
Yeah, honestly, one of my hustles was, out of a lot of my friends, I was one of the only ones that had those ties to New York City like that. So I'm staying the summer with my grandmother. I'm going to the bootleggers. I'm buying a 10-pack of Maxells, TDKs, whatever. And the whole summer, every Friday night, I'm on Kiss and BLS, switching between both stations, getting what Red Alert was playing, getting what Marley Marl was playing. And then by the end of the summer, I would have mad tapes. So I would charge my friends for copies, for dubs of the tapes, because, you know, we had the double cassette decks, so then we could start dubbing them. So yeah, I would introduce a lot of music first to my friends. I remember being on Mount Hope and playing like Slick Rick Children's Story for the first time for some of my friends that never heard it. And there was a myth.
That's pioneering right there.
Who?
No, I said that's pioneering. You was pioneering some shit.
There was a myth that if you lived in a certain area that you could catch BLS from up here, but it never happened for me. I never. So yeah, I mean, Albany was always a little bit behind when it came to the music. Some would say a lot, but we were always behind when it came to the music. We didn't have a commercial radio station. We only had college radio stations. So that kind of like hampered us in a lot of ways.
You put me onto some game. Again, I told you I was listening to your interview that you did, and I didn't know that. You was breaking down how Sienna had a radio station. You was going through all the college radio stations. Somebody that lived up here, like I had no idea. Can you just give me an overview again of how that time was like with the college radio stations and some of the DJs that worked on there and what that was doing for the sound of upstate New York?
So at this time, hip hop is still very early and niche. So hip hop wasn't played on any station all day long. Like how we can randomly get in our car at any time of the day and we could hear a hip hop song. It wasn't like that. You had special shows that mostly came on that night that catered to the hip hop crowd. And before Jams 96 existed, which was like the first commercial radio station that we got up here for hip hop, we only had those 3 stations. Siena College, WVCR 88.3.
Yep.
WRPI 91.5.
Yeah.
And then 90.9 WCDB, which was SUNY, the Capital District's best.
Correct.
So I would say 88, we had legends like Sylvester Stevens, Slam and Shan, Jose Melendez. Those were like, I'm going to say El Samuel. Those was like the 80s to 90s. And then WRPI, you had DJ Toast, you had Kev Mack. My man Nate the Great used to spin up there. And then CDB. My friends DJ'd at all 3 of the stations. I literally got experience at all 3 of those stations rapping and DJing. I was rapping on WVCR when I was 15 years old. Slam and Shan put me and my man on the mic. And we were 15. And I just remember like going back to school that Monday. Like the brag flex was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody heard you. So I had really early beginnings doing a lot. Because I started rapping at 9. So by the time I was 15, I was taking this serious like a real business. And it's been that way since I was 15.
Okay. You, to piggyback off that, you were saying how you taking it. When did the business aspect of it started kicking into you? Because I know anytime I we see this all the time when artists start, we don't think they understand the business side of things until like they get further in. When did the business side of start kicking in for you as far as DJing?
Well, the business with DJing is not nearly as complex as the music game, like being a rapper or a producer. You know, being a DJ, it's like, are you hot? Can you rock a crowd? Can you bring a crowd? Do you know what you're doing? That really just starts with doing people's little backyard parties and stuff like that. If I can remember, like my first parties were like backyard parties, doing your friend's birthday type stuff. And then that turned into, obviously I didn't get into clubs as a DJ until I was of age enough to be in the club. But I would say for me, my start of really cracking through and getting people to know who I was outside of the mixtapes was with Sneaky Pete's.
Okay.
Because before Sneaky Pete's, we only just had what we have now, little bars.
Can I say something real quick?
But
I went through like a 6-month depression when they closed Sneaky Pete's down, man.
it was more than that for me, man.
Yo,
I built Sneaky Pete's. Let me tell you something,
I
man.
was on the floor like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I had a little motion back then,
Yeah.
but that was a spot. You go ahead, man.
No, I mean, because I allow a lot of people to flex and, you know, they say their things and make their statements about, you know, how important they are to the scene. But when Sneaky Pete's decided to start even doing hip hop events there,
That was a struggle.
I was in the room and I was on the ground floor. And I was one of the people that brought the DJs to the table that ended up starting Sneaky Pete's off and helping it grow. And I even titled, from my own brain, the first hip hop night at Sneaky's, which it was called The Jump Off. I actually titled it The Jump Off. That's
My
me.
man.
So, and
I
then
appreciate you.
the outside promoters that came in and started helping develop Sneaky Pete's when they were having a slow time getting it off the ground,
Right.
I brought them to the table too.
So would that be
Lamel.
a B-Way
SNL.
Clockwork?
Nah.
Or that's later? Is that much
B-Way
later?
Clockwork is later. Like I said, I'm
So
in
you-
there. I'm in there on the ground floor. The
That
first
90s,
hip hop
that-
night at Sneaky's,
Is that
I
late
was there.
90s? That's late 90s?
2000. I'm saying around 2000.
Yeah, he was still on. Yeah. So you were, damn, you were
Because
early.
G-Spot was still open on Lark when this all happened.
Right.
And how it actually occurred, my man Anthony Ramo, he owned G-Spot with his partner Corey. They had 2 locations and they sold clothes and mixtapes heavy. I went in there one day because it was near my house, and he told me, yo, I've been waiting for one of y'all to come in. This guy named Bill Kennedy from Sneaky Pete's came in here and said they're looking to start a hip-hop night and they looking for some DJs. And he said, I was just waiting for you to come in here so I could give you his number. I remember the phone number like it was yesterday. And then I called my man Biz. I called my man Money Mike. We had a meeting. We went to meet with Bill Kennedy. And that's how everything started at Sneaky's. Then they started bringing acts. When they started bringing the DJs, some of that was partly from my mind. Like, yes, the typical DJs that would always come up here would be the Juices, the Doo-Wops, the Ron G's.
Correct.
But when you started seeing the DJ Vlads, the Who Kids, the DJs
Talking
that
about
were
Vlad
on
TV?
Yeah, Vlad, that's my man.
Yeah.
That's my man. When you started seeing those characters, that was because of me. Because I was in the mixtape game heavy, and I was like, yo, bring my man Riley Fingers up here. They brought my man Riley Fingers up here. Yo, bring Lazy K up here. They brought Lazy K up here.
Can I say salute to Lazy K? Because you brought her up when we did it, when we was recognizing DJs.
Yeah, that's
she don't get a lot of respect for what she did for Underground, especially with Max B and then other mixtapes that she was doing. So salute to all the groundwork that she put in on the underground level. I know there's a lot of other DJs, but I like to give people that don't really get propped up their respect.
Right. And those was her late years too.
Yeah.
That's not her early work. That's her late work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the sis. She's a very instrumental part of the mixtape game for females. She's in that top 5 dead or alive forever for that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, because I know we're kind of going before and after and everything. There's so much history. With the mixtapes, you had a story, but I'm gonna go with this first. At one point in Albany, and you alluded to it, there was a movement starting when it was the 3 radio stations, and then one day, like I looked up, and it was started. It was a radio station that we had. There was Jams. There was I don't want to say his name wrong, but is Sugar Bear?
Yes, he was the PD at James.
Okay, so there was a movement. Everybody was coming. It was you. It was Love. It was I'm missing people here. Sugar Bear,
Biz.
There was a bunch. It was an army. There was a movement that was starting in Albany. Like even with the parties and the club. If you could just walk us through that, because I looked up one day and it was here. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to always know the story behind it.
So I'm gonna say that was 99 or 2000. I could be off a year, but I'm usually pretty close to being accurate. I remember when they first put Jams on the air and they were literally playing the same loop of songs for the whole 24 hours.
Yes.
Until like they actually got personalities on the air.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Sugar Bear, who was actually brilliant because for him to be in his position, he went and got the best on-air radio talent from the area. So people like DJ Biz, people like Linda Love, who, because if you ever listen to 88.3, they were the closest to a professional sounding air personality crew that you would hear. The other college stations were good, but VCR had a certain standard that you have to have. And you know, they made their bones over there enough for Sugar Bear to say, yo, I want the most professional sounding ones. And he hired them and brought them to Jams. So Jams just became an extension of other radio talent that we already knew from being on the air. Okay. They went to the next level at that point.
Okay. And this was when you guys did start with that, you were hot in the mixtape game. Correct me if I'm wrong with the timeline.
That was 2000. We started the mixtape game. We were doing mixtapes before that, but it's actually breaking through the New York City circuit. Didn't happen until 04.
Okay.
And so, you know, after my boy had an attempt on his life.
I'm very aware of that.
That right there, that put 10 feet up my ass. I was ready to conquer everything.
Right.
So that's how Noise Mob started.
Okay, got you. Do you want to
keep going?
Intervene?
I'm loving this.
I was because I was thinking, and you talked about with Sneaky Peeks and everything, and you talked about how you got the DJs and then there was the acts in there. If you could just talk about it, everything about how hot it was, to kind of give people an example of how hot Sneaky Peeks was. Like, I don't think to this day we've had a club like that. So up here, there was always like a spot, but then you got to go all like 30 to 45 minutes away. Right. Clifton Park, somewhere you had to go 30 to 45 minutes away. And then like when Sneaky Peeks opened, it was kind of like within the area, within the community with all the art. You could get I remember they had Ashanti up there. And this is when she was like,
the first big show.
She was like hot. She was like, she was buzzing at this time. This wasn't like nobody knew her. So the point I'm making is that this was a movement, and I don't understand how it went from that to like one day it was just shut down and gone, like nobody understood. It was kind of, to put an example of, it was like Albany's version of the tunnel. For anybody that understands, for New Yorkers, it's like the tunnel. I grew up like going to the tunnel. I remember when I used to work for SRC, so I was in the tunnel like every Sunday. So I know that's kind of the movement y'all had created up here. So I'm just, help me if you can envision and tell me maybe the story of some of the reason how it went from this to one day I looked up and then it was closed, and then I was hearing they were gonna do things. I don't never really know the story behind it. I know you do.
Well, to be honest with you, Nick, who owns Sneaky Pete's, the Sneaky Pete's that we know of was actually the second location.
Okay.
He had a older version of Sneaky Pete's that was, don't give me the lion, but I feel like it was in the between Clifton Park and Saratoga area. So he opened up this location. Towards the end of it, before it was all said and done, it changed ownership. And one of the major things that was political about Sneaky Pete's, really, it was an extension of OTB. They never really owned the property or the building. They only owned the business of Sneaky Pete's.
Wow.
So when OTB decided that they wanted to do other things with the property, Sneaky Pete's had to go with it.
By default.
That's what happened.
Damn.
Still depressed to this day,
That's
man.
a lot of money doing that. I don't understand.
Yo, people was, listen, my man used to call Sneaky Pete's the hottest club north of the Tappan Zee.
Yeah.
And we used to have people from the city come up here. My guys used to come up here from the city and party and be like, yo, bottles of Mo is only $70 up here. Like you could they was feeling like you could ball out here on a budget. Sneaky
Facts.
Compared to New York City prices. So it was great for the hip hop culture of Albany and for the nightlife culture of Albany.
What was your favorite? Sorry to cut you off. What was your favorite night in Sneaky's?
My favorite night in Sneaky's. Wow, that's a hard one. I'm gonna be honest with you. One of my most memorable nights there, as I said before, my boy, he had an attempt on his life. And, you know, him being the biggest, most influential DJ in the area at that time, you know, he was on hiatus, obviously. So the first night of him coming back and walking into that club with all of us, that was kind of like one of the most memorable moments for me.
Okay.
As far as just like, I don't know, the way it made me feel. But I guess if you're talking about DJs and performances and things like that, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj
So when she was just breaking through or later? Because I remember the two. Like she
just
came up
breaking through.
That was amazing.
Safari was up there doing her backgrounds.
Yeah.
So that should put that in perspective. I actually had that whole thing on film.
Okay.
And I lost that camera.
Mhm.
But
Really?
yeah, I actually, spoke to Nikki more than a few times before she even came to do that show up here. So that's the reason why I think that night was so special for me, because I saw her progression from the bottom up before she even was with Wayne, before her name was even Nicki Minaj. Her
Right.
name was just Nicki Minaj, her real last name.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna say the Nicki
Shout out
Minaj
to
show
Big
was like
Fendi.
one of the dopest, most exciting nights.
You talked about footage. Do you have footage, a lot of footage from Sneakies from that era?
Nah, man.
Okay.
Nah. I mean, OGs like me, we just started getting used to really using the camera the way we should, or being conscious of, let's make sure that we take a picture. There's a lot in my history that I don't have documented because I just never cared about that.
Right.
And then I got other friends that have portfolios of pictures with 50, 60, 70 artists. It just depends what type of person you are. But yeah, that's one thing I feel bad about. Like, I didn't necessarily document a lot of the people I got to meet or, stand next to. Because I've met Jay-Z, I've met Nas, I've met Destiny's Child, I've met a few people that we would consider icons at this moment.
You talked about creating Noise Mob. Talk to me about how that came about.
Noise Mob was just like, man, we had so many talented DJs in the 518 that was getting busy and putting their heart into these mixtapes. One being my man DJ Money Mike, another one being my man DJ Desperado. These were guys that were generation below the Young Wises and guys like that, even though we seen them through that whole process. But I just wanted to put them in a position where their mixtapes could be heard outside of Albany, New York. And through the help of my man DJ Biz, I was able to do that. He was in radio. We were roommates at the time, and he was working for Jams. So, we were getting vinyl to the front door every other morning. Like, vinyl getting shipped to the crib. Our living room is full of vinyl. I got the whole recording studio in the living room. I got all the local MCs coming in and out because I'm doing production for them. And let me not lose what your question was.
No. Yeah, go ahead. Whatever you want to
What
say.
did you say?
About how you created Noise Mob? Like, how did that come about?
So I basically got like most of my good friends in the room that were DJs and was saying, yo, we got to figure out how to corner the market. Initially, it was about trying to make sure that we were a strong enough team to not have to settle for scraps out here. Like setting our prices and cornering the market. Some of my ideas back then were a little early. If you fast forward 20 years, we've had enough talks to realize that if we would have really implemented some of the ideas that I had at that time, we wouldn't be settling for the money that we settle for as DJs locally today. But after that happened to my man, that's when I really stepped it up. I was like, we gonna break through. And it started with a brother named Chill Will from the East Side, a legendary mixtape DJ, the Fruit Flavor Man, from Harlem, from Jefferson Projects. He had just got out of jail and was trying to reestablish his name. He came up here. I met him in Sneaky Pete's. My man Desperado, who was one of my proteges, wanted to do a mixtape with him. So I made that happen. And it ended up being a one hand wash the other type thing because I was struggling a little bit to get these mixtape websites to pick our material up and put it on the site. And Chill Will was having the same problem because he didn't understand the internet as well as I did.
Right.
So him doing a mixtape with one of my DJs helped me kill two birds with one stone. It made the websites start respecting what we was doing and actually pick up the project. And then it made him helped him get on the websites that he couldn't get on. So essentially it helped both of us. And once he realized that that I had that kind of drive, power, and business acumen, he kept supporting me and stood by me and did whatever I asked him, needed him to do for me. And yeah, that mixtape cracked through. And then from there, it made every mixtape that we followed with easier to break through because now I got the rapport. Now the websites know our mixtapes are quality. And I even went and set up a meeting with Justo and met with Justo on Beat Street Records. Like everybody who I knew was an integral part of this mixtape shit, I figured out a way where I'm gonna have a meeting with them. And I made that shit happen.
Now, did you want to?
Yeah, because I don't want to lose this thought. You just said something. We did a summer event in the summertime for Beat Street. They had their anniversary. Plus, you just said the Justo Mixtape Awards.
Yep.
So if you can real quick, how was that meeting with Beat Street Records and the Justo Mixtape Awards at that time?
So Beat Street was just the meeting spot. That was just the spot that we chose to meet him at because when me and my guys went to the city, we was finna go to Beat Street Records anyway and be down there for 2 hours. Right? So that was just an easy setup because it didn't even matter what time he showed up because we was gonna be down there for 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So he came down there. I wanted to basically give him our latest 5 mixtapes personally. And come to find out, because I met his girl after he passed on, she recorded the story of him coming home with the mixtapes and listening to him and saying how dope and creative we were. So it worked. I got him to pay attention to us, but to the degree that he helped us with other locations, like, yo, make sure you go to this store. Make sure you go to this store. I'm going to write it down to you. This is for you. This is who you go and ask for. And then I had another individual that was kind of like a Justo in a way. His name is Tape Master. He's a very well-known mixtape collector and from Brooklyn, from East New York, Brooklyn. Right. And he also showed us around and hooked us up with spots. But yeah, my first message board, back then the game was message boards. So before social media was popping, all these mixtape websites had their own message board. Tape Kings had a message board. DJVlad.com had a message board. Several of the mixtape websites had message boards, and that's how we would communicate, network with other DJs, and basically just post our projects up there with the graphic arts and the playlists. So if you were an unknown DJ, the mixtape message boards was a good way to promote yourself. And then, like I said, I just started building everything from the bottom when it came to the internet. I took advantage of every nook and cranny of whatever I could because I understood like this was a new frontier, and I understood that it could take us from Albany, New York, Clinton Ave to Australia and Japan, which was ultimately where our mixtape started ending up at.
Okay, you talk about Beat Street, you talking about the one in Brooklyn?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay,
absolutely.
Yeah. No, exactly. So I could spend like hours in that place back in the day.
Man.
I'm sad it closed down.
Staple.
Yeah. You talked about Justo. I know you had won awards. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but there was a story behind that. If you would like to share it, I know you had won awards, but I don't think because of everything that was going on at that time, you were able to receive the award. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, so we won the 2007 Justo Mixtape Award for Best Mixtape Team. But I was actually invited in 2005. Me and Justo had already been in communication. As I told you, I went down to the city and met him at Beat Street. So he hit me up one day and he was like, "What's your address?" And I gave him the address, but I had no clue what he was doing with the address. And I'm gonna say maybe a week before the Justos was actually going down, I received a piece of mail at my house from Atlantic Records because Justo used to use Atlantic Records mailroom to mail out the Justo Awards tickets. And I opened it and the tickets was in there. And I was like happy as hell. Like, that's why he asked me.
Right.
So, but still going and not knowing why I'm there. Like it just not registering with me. Like I know what type of progress I'm making and who I am, but I'm just like, why is he putting me in this important position? So come to find out, the first award show that I got invited to, it was because we were nominated for best team. He just didn't tell me.
Okay.
So we're just sitting there, and then when that best team award happens, somebody else won. A crew called the Turntable Assassins won.
Okay.
And it just so happened that that year, one of the integral Turntable Assassins had died by a tragic accident. They ended up winning, and I was like, that's why I'm here. So I vowed from that moment on that the next time I step in this building, we winning something.
Right.
So that next year, I went on a spree. I upped the team. I recruited more DJs. I was on the phone 24/7 trying to open up all these different doors, and Justo ended up passing. So the next year didn't happen.
Okay.
The awards had to get postponed because of his death and them having to figure out everything on the business end, figure out who was gonna do what. So we didn't actually win it get it until 2007. Because the 2006 awards didn't happen. So yeah, it was a beautiful thing. Now, so long story short though, from what you were asking me, Tony Yayo was on Who Kids show the night before. And he was literally on the air saying, yo, the Justos tomorrow, we gonna go crash that shit. He literally said that. And we're there. I'ma say we're half an hour through the ceremony. All of a sudden, you kind of hear all this racket. Somebody ends up getting on the mic and saying that it was over. So what had happened was Yayo came to the door, mad deep, G-Unit. Anybody knows when you're a person of that caliber, you're supposed to go through the back door.
Right.
Only the front door is only for civilians.
Right.
So when they got to the front door, they bum rushed security. Security never got a chance to check everybody. So games manager at the time, Jimmy Henchman was in the lobby.
Oh, God.
They spotted him. They start arguing with him in the lobby. And because security never got to pat down Yayo's mans, they knew already that it was a hazard. So they had to shut it down because at that point, Yayo and them are already in the building, and because they bum rushed security, they never got to check them. So when they started arguing and then it got heated, the Apollo got scared and shut it down. I was highly upset because not only did I not get to accept the Noise Mob Best Team Award, but we had 6 other DJs on our team that swept in other categories. As a team, we swept. We were taking home 6, 7 awards that night. Because my DJ Brandy Garcia won Female DJ of the Year. My man DJ Chuck T won Best New DJ of the Year. My man Superstar J won Rookie of the Year. Like we had DJs winning different categories that solidified that we were actually the best team.
Superstar J from Queens?
Yeah, that's my man.
Salute to Superstar J, man.
Yeah, that's my guy. So yeah, that's how it ended. My homegirl Brandy Garcia had just got off her plane from Houston. She didn't even get to get in the building. So it was like a lot of people were upset and disappointed that this actually happened. And I just felt like Yayo snatched the glory moment for me. I ain't play a Yayo record for like over 10 years after that. We good now though.
Right,
we good
right.
now.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We
It seems like he matured. He's talking about eating caviar pancakes.
Caviar pancakes. I'm with 50. We eating caviar pancakes in Morocco.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah, I see everything, man.
Oh God, yo, just real quick, I wanted to allude to, and you were talking about some experiences you went through that kind of pushed you and motivated you to go hard even more. As you alluded to early in the interview, I know what you're talking about. Without saying names, it was a big moment, especially with the Jams crew. Something had happened that was a very high-profile incident. And just talk about, like, just from your viewpoint of how that affected you, where you were at when that happened, how did you get notification of it, and how did you deal with it, you know?
Well, honestly, when it happened, I didn't even think that it was that person that would have done it. But we were roommates at the time. I didn't stay home that night. I was at somebody's house. And I just woke up, woke up to them screaming, telling me what happened. And I'm like, what? So I'm out of there. I'm out of the house. I'm headed to the hospital. The whole emergency room is filled with people. So that's when I knew it was like a reality. And I don't want to say too much about, because I want to save his story for him.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the brother that did it, we all knew him. We all were friends with him. I've been to his house as an MC in my earlier days and did demos too. We all had a camaraderie. So it kind of put a lot of people in a different place. It kind of put a lot of people in a difficult place, because it's like, if you knew both individuals and you were cool with both individuals, it was obviously a compromising position to be in. But you know what I mean, my man, the man that Biz is, he's a soldier, he's a survivor, and he just kept elevating from that point. It never stopped him from, you know, doing what he wanted to do or being what he wanted to be. It was a small setback. So, you know, God was with him.
Yeah.
That's all I could say. But yeah, for me, being who he was to me, it just motivated me to do whatever I could to get us out of this town for real. Because I started to understand how when you start reaching any types of levels, you know, I've opened up for Nas, Jay-Z, the Fugees, Mobb Deep, people like that as an MC. So I started to understand what jealousy and envy look like.
Right.
And, you know, when you in a small town like this, it could be real toxic at times. So it's just something that we look at that happened in the past. And, you know, every year I make sure I let him know that I'm happy that he's here, man. Right. But that's all behind us.
Right. No,
everything's good now. Them two are good. Like, I'm not gonna say like they're best friends, but they have spoken their piece with each other, and that's all that matters. That ain't nobody business but theirs. You feel me?
Got you. Did you had a question you wanted? Okay.
Yeah. So we talked about a lot from a DJ perspective, and we still got some time left. I want to touch on some production for some other questions.
Absolutely.
From a production standpoint, who are some of the people that inspired you to get your production sound?
Oh man, Marley Marl, DJ Premier, Eric Sermon, Dr. Dre, RZA, Jay Dilla, Pete Rock. How far you want me to go?
So when I interviewed DJ Thorough, he said that there's a difference from the golden era DJs / producers, because at that time the DJs were making the records,
Right.
and he named 4: Marley Marl, Premier,
Mm.
and there was 2 other ones that slipped in my mind from that interview.
Mm-hmm.
How important was that golden era from DJ / producer and what they were doing on the radio, since they were the ones making the records, and how did that affect you?
I mean, I'm a person that's all ears. If you can create something that, you know what I'm saying, makes my ears happy, that's all that matters to me. I was always I'ma say Marley first was Marley and Red Alert, even though Red Alert really wasn't known as a producer, but Marley is probably one of the earliest GOATs that I could say even before Premier got here. And I just think that producing is a natural progression of a DJ. At some point, and I've heard a lot of DJs say this, they got tired of playing other people's records and wanted people to play their records, wanted to make their own records.
Right.
So it's like Jermaine Dupri, Premier, Dr. Dre. It's so many producers that I can name that actually started as DJs first. So I just think it's kind of a natural progression. Every DJ is not a producer, every producer is not a DJ, but most of the prominent ones that we've known that have done well and are successful do have the DJ background.
Okay.
So I was influenced in that way to understand, like, okay, I could take this another step beyond just scratching and mixing and blending. And digging in the crates, that's part of the process. Like, I started with my father's collection. That was the collection that I started making my beats off before I had my own records. So, I mean, I love it. It influenced me greatly.
So I'm gonna talk about this before we wrap this interview up. Like, DJ Premier has a sound, especially what we got from this new album with him and Nas.
A lot of talk about that.
What is Wiz Hoffa's sound? What do people know you for when it comes to production? Do you have a specific sound that you look for when you're producing?
I don't, cause I'm more or less, I cater to the artist. I don't have a signature. Like right now, I'm currently doing drill, I'm doing R&B, I'm doing pop, I'm doing boom bap, I got trap beats. Like, as a producer, your job is to produce. So I never really wanted to be boxed in to where it's like, I just do one thing. You'll hear a beat from me and then another beat from me and be like, yo, he made that too? And I like when that happens, because that lets me know, like, yeah, you can't, I'm a chameleon. So, you know, being a producer like me doesn't work for everybody, because most of the successful guys do have a signature where you can hear their beat and know that's them. So being a person like me that's versatile, it can be a pro and a con at the same time. You know what I mean? So you just got to navigate through that. But I'm spreading my seeds in a lot of different sectors of music, and that's more important for me, to be able to give something dope to drill music, then turn around and give something dope to boom bap, then turn around and give something dope to R&B, because I got R&B records that I produce too. So that's what I like to do, man. I'm versatile.
To allude to what he was talking about, what he was asking, I'm sorry, and you know this because we around that same era. You know, you've been when mixtapes were just mixtapes. You had the tapes like the TDKs and the Maxwells you was talking about, you pop in. And then you had this CD era, even with the mixtapes, but it was just CDs more now than. And then now it's the downloads and the streaming and everything. How have you been able to piggyback off the words you use, chameleon? How have you been able to adapt to all of those eras? And I'm probably missing one right now, but from what I could allude to is it was tapes, CDs, and then it was streaming, downloading. How have you been able to adapt to that?
I've taken advantage of every era. You know, when it was tapes and CDs, I did tapes and CDs. Now it's streaming. You know, my music is on Apple Music, Spotify, all the platforms. So, you know, every phase that the game is changed in, I changed with it because we have to some degree. Because when they change the way your music is consumed, then you kind of have no choice but to roll with it. So yeah, I'm not gonna say any one era is better than the other. They just all necessary. You just gotta roll with the punches. That's the way I look at it. Cause I definitely wouldn't still be here and still relevant if I was worried about conforming to keeping an old format or you know, not wanting to grow with the music business. You gotta grow with the music business.
So I want to spend this last section talking about present music from your perspective. And we're going to do another interview because there's still more questions that I want to get to.
No doubt.
This is probably going to be a part 2.
I'm going to be right back here too.
We're going to talk about this on our next podcast, but Nas and Premier just dropped the album, them linking up after 30 years. From you growing up in that era, you also being a DJ and a producer, did you get a chance to listen to the album all the way through? If you did, what was your thoughts on it?
At midnight on the dot. First listen, I was like, okay. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I think that's part of the problem. A lot of us just had a lot of expectations, right? And I feel like this conversation changes depending on when did you start listening to DJ Premier. Because if you've been listening to DJ Premier since No More Mr. Nice Guy or Step in the Arena, you know that Premier has a couple of different signature sounds that he has. It's not just one. And on this album, he showed you a bit of every one and maybe a few things that we have never heard before. So I feel like I could look at this album as a work of art and not like every song and still understand that it's a work of art and it's a beautiful work of art. Me, myself, I like 7 songs, but I know people that like 12. I know people that like 10. I know people that like 4. Music is subjective. So this whole conversation of, you know, people saying that the album is bad because of Premier or whatever, it all depends on what you like and what you don't like. It's very subjective.
I like what you said, and this is what I'm gonna touch on in our podcast, but we'll talk about it now. You said it's a work of art. My first initial run through it, and then listening to Nas and Premier's interview with Joe Budden, the project was void of capitalism. It wasn't like, oh, we're doing this project to hit them so we can get on the Billboard charts.
Right.
Like when they linked up and they're doing writers, it's like you could tell how much they love the culture and how much they still want to pour into it. So that's just what I took it for, a work of art. Like they want this to grow with time.
Right.
That's just what I thought. What was your opinion?
I can add to it. So I haven't thoroughly went through it. I will say this just from the era I'm from, and you can allude to this too. You know, when you say a work of art, when you used to buy a artist's tape, I'm going back, like tape or CD, a record, you used to look at the label they were signed to. You used to look at who was producing on it. You should look at the whole thing. Like you pull out the tape and look at it. You're looking at the pictures. Like it was a whole project.
Experience.
And experience. Exact words, right. So when you talk about it, I think you're looking at it through a lens of how we used to look at it when hip hop was coming. And then for some reason we seem to have gotten away from that. It wasn't like that no more. Go stream my project. But there was no pictures. There was no label. There was no nothing. You didn't even know. Sometimes you don't even know who's even on a record. You get what I'm saying? So it kind of, Nas is bringing it back to what we were seeing back then. I think now what you're seeing is something that we used to see before. and we had got away from it. And I think that it was a major blow to hip hop. I really do. I think people don't understand that. But what you're experiencing, yes, that's exactly. Like when we do the podcast, he'll come in here with records, and he's got like the record, and you can see like the back.
Turntable.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? So, that's what we used to do. You know what I mean? Even with the mixtapes, like, even if it didn't have any of it, and you would see the name on it, and you're just listening, as long as you saw the Maxwell tape, you was straight. It's a thing of vision. You know what I mean? It's a work of art, like both you two have alluded to. And I just think that we have gotten away from that. And I think Nas is bringing that back. And sooner or later, the consumer is already buying into it. Probably who's ever funding, whether you're independent or whether you're industry, they're going to start understanding that you need to go back to that. You can't, I think the one thing that's missing from these projects, we talked about this too, it's nothing wrong with having a video. It's nothing wrong with having, we saw projects come out and there was nothing for them. We knew the music, banging music, but there's no videos or nothing. These young kids still want to see things. You know what I mean? You can't just be pointing out dope music and not have a video or nothing to it. So they need to see that image. They need to see of what you're doing. It's more than just the sound, And I think we have gotten away from that. So
there's never gonna be any Nas and DJ Premier slander for me.
Yeah.
They both played too much a part of my history, who I am, what I aspired to be. And honestly, me and my team, we foreseen this 20 years ago. We put out a mixtape called Prematic. It's all Nas beats it's all Premier beats to Nas acapellas. It's actually on YouTube right now.
Okay.
I discovered somebody uploaded it 2 years ago. And the night that Nas and Primo dropped, I woke up in the morning, our shit was up 600 streams. And I don't know if that was because of the algorithm or what.
Good SEO, search engine optimization.
It's up to 17,000 right now. So
Right.
go check that out. It's on YouTube. It's called Prematic, Nas and DJ Premier Blends. And that was the period of time when we put that out was right after they did that Scratch cover that everybody talks about when they were on the cover of Scratch magazine. And that mixtape ended up becoming top mixtapes of 06 in Scratch magazine's December issue to end off that year. So like, that's how much of a Nas and Premier fan that we are. We did the mixtape 20 years before the album actually came out. And up to this point, many people say that was the album for them.
Right.
This is just what the fans online are saying.
Right.
Not tooting my horn. So.
Well, see, no, it's not tooting your horn. It's called setting a trend. And then me and him talk about it all the time. It's just like he'll talk to you, he'll tell you all day. I'm like more the visual magazine guy, where he's like, yo, hey, we need to put this digitally out, and and I'm with that too. But I think even with the magazines, you're following a trend. That's why those magazines didn't last. That's why like now they're trying to come quarterly, because you don't have a vision. You're just following a trend. Hip hop was never following trends. We were setting trends. So that's why when we do magazines, it's nothing for us. We can do it because we're not following a trend. We set the trend. So it's the same thing when you do the mixtapes. That's why I think DJs like you and other various DJs, like that's how y'all last so long, because you're not following the trend. Nobody doing that. What you was doing, man, with the Premier beats and the Nas. Like nobody's doing that. You get what I'm saying? They ain't even doing that now. So to do what you're doing, that just alludes to what we've been saying. You gotta set the trend. Don't follow it. I mean that ain't gonna work.
I appreciate that, man.
So I want to leave you with a few seconds before we close this off, and we're gonna do a part 2.
Yeah.
And a part 3. I think this might be a 3-part series.
That's cool, man.
Because I'm still stuck on the DJ part.
I told you this is my second home already.
Yeah.
And there's questions that I have, as far as you working with local talent. I think that's important.
Yes.
So yeah, there's definitely got to be a part 2 and 3 to this. But to end off part 1, we just finished talking about the Nas and Premier. Off of first listen, how many mics would you give it?
Me and go into it sometimes. But
yo, the mics part is hard for me because Nas is not the weak link on the project.
Wow.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Nas did what he's supposed to do. If there's anything that I don't like, it is some of the production. Not all, but some. But I can't say that Nas didn't get busy every time out.
Does that allude to the perception that Nas is not a good beat picker? They've always said that from day one. He's not good at, his lyrics are always up to par.
He's giving slander.
No.
He's
you know what I'm
Nas
talking about. They
slander.
always say Nas has never been a good, he doesn't pick good production.
I have stated this several times over the past few days. As a producer, I know this.
Yeah.
Artists pick the beats they want to rhyme to.
Okay.
He wanted to rhyme to those beats. Nobody forced him to rap to none of those beats, because any producer knows that you want the MC to be feeling the beat, because that's going to bring the best out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that the beat picking was all on Nas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we're giving Premier too much flack for something that wasn't totally his decision.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. Rhymes wise, I would give it a 5 mics. If I was just judging the production, I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Okay.
We said the same thing.
Yeah.
3.5. So that's up there. Well, yo, man, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule.
No doubt, man.
And like I said, there's definitely got to be a part 2 and 3, because we didn't cover all the topics we wanted to talk to in this hour.
I got to bring Tamel up here. We coming back next month, so.
Okay.
This will be the last part of the interview before we close out.
Mm-hmm.
What are you getting into presently before we close out?
That you want the world to know
That you want
about.
people to know about.
So, I produced the record for the great Rakim's son. His name is Tamel. He's a dope MC. We got a record called Clean Up Nice. We recorded it, shot the video for it already. That's going to be coming out in February. Right now, my man Pesci Kruger got an album out called Tomorrow I'll Be Famous. I got a cut on there called College Dropout. That's on all platforms. Next month, my wife, Lex Hoffa, is dropping her single, Woo Hada Rebirth. That's produced by me. It's an ode to Busta Rhymes.
She get busy too? She ain't say nothing?
Yeah. It's an ode to Busta Rhymes.
I'm late to the party.
You need to hear the track.
And I'm dropping a new record single next week called New York Tough.
Okay.
That'll be on all platforms, featuring Ace Gifted, Chaz Money, Alexis Ray, and my man AC The Tragedy.
Okay.
That's what I got going on. But yeah, I'm turning 50 next year, so I'm storming everything.
Okay.
We bombing everything. So I want to come back up here because y'all need me to come back up here.
Facts.
You
And
feel
I just
me?
need, we want you to come back up here, man. We appreciate.
No doubt, man. I appreciate y'all
I want to
too.
say the Woo-Ha record is tough, though. I don't know if I'm supposed to let that out,
Thank
but
you.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Appreciate that. I gave you the inside scoop on that.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that one.
Right.
You want to shout out your social media?
On Instagram, I'm at Wiz Hoffa, WIZHOFFA. Facebook, I'm Wizzy Hoffa. I also have a DJ Wiz Hoffa page on Facebook too. That's more of the, like the biography page with all the work. And then one is my personal, but I'm pretty much all over. I'm on YouTube as DJ Wiz Hoffa / Faces of 518. And I appreciate y'all, man. This is a good look.
All day, we got you.
Anything else you want to add?
No.
Man, appreciate anybody that's going to tune in on a playback. Like I said, man, whether it's one person or 1,000, we appreciate all support. And one last time, much respect to DJ Wiz Hoffa, not just for coming up here, but what you poured into hip hop on your journey, man. And definitely thank you for taking time out, and you continue to grind, and you're going to be up here pretty soon because we got to get part 2 and part 3 going, man.
No doubt. I'm trying to keep the city on my back. I always have. So we still, my back hurting a little bit, but we getting there. Respect to y'all.
Thanks, thank you.
All right, you rocking with your host, Son of a Jones.
Azar Johnson.
God bless. Appreciate you, man.
That was dope.
Definitely got to get a